ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। हरे कृष्णा। टुडे वी कंटिन्यूइंग Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto First, Chapter 19, The Appearance of Shukadeva Goswami, Shloka number 28 to 31. Shyamam sada apivyaya vaya angalakshmya
श्यामं सदापि व्यय्य अङ्गलक्ष्म्या
श्रीणाम मनोज्ञम रुचि अस्मितम
स्त्रीणामनोज्ञं रुचिः अस्मितेन
रुचिरस्मितेन प्रत्युत्थिताः ते मुनयः स्व आसनेभ्यः
प्रत्युत्थिता ते मुनय स्वासनेभ्यः
तत्लक्षणज्ञाः अपि गूढवर्चसम्
तत्लक्षणज्ञा अपि गूढवर्चसम्
स विष्णुरात अतिथय आगताय
स विष्णुरात अतिथय आगताय
तस्मै सपर्यां शिरसा अजहार।
तस्मै सपर्याम शिरसा अजहार
ततः निवृत्ताय अबुधा श्रिय अर्भका
ततः निवृत्ता हि अबुधा स्त्रियर्भका
महासने स उपविवेश पूजितः
महासने स उपविवेश पूजितः
सः संवृत तत्र महान् मह्यसाम्
स संवृतः तत्र महान् महीयसाम्
ब्रह्मर्षि राजर्षि देवर्षि संगैः
ब्रह्म ऋषि राजऋषि देवऋषि संगैः
विरोचत अलम भगवान था इंदुः
व्यरोचत व्यरोचता अलम भगवान यत इंदुः
ग्रह रुक्ष तारानिकरे परितः
ग्रह रक्षतारा निकरः परितः
प्रशान्तम आसीनम अकुंठमेधसम
प्रशान्तमासीनम् अकुण्ठं मेधसम्
मुनिम नृप भागवत अभिपेत्य
मुनिं नृप भागवताभिमुपेत्य
अभ्युपेत्य प्रणम्य मृदना वहित कृतांजलिः
प्रणम्य मूर्ध्ना वहितः कृताञ्जलिः
नत्वा गिरासु नृतयान अनृतया अन्वपृच्छत्
नृत्वा गिरासु अनृतया अन्वपृच्छत्
स्वनृतया अन्वपृच्छत् श्यामं सदापि वयः अङ्गलक्ष्म्या
श्यामं सदा अपि व्यवयः अङ्गलक्ष्म्या
श्रीणामनज्ञः रुचिरस्मितेन
स्त्रीणामनज्ञः रुचिरस्मितेन
प्रत्युत्थिताः ते मुनयः स्व आसनेभ्यः
प्रत्युत्थितः ते मुनयः स्व आसनेभ्यः
तत् लक्षणज्ञः अपि गूढवर्चसम्
तत्लक्षणज्ञाः अपि गूढवर्चसम्
सः विष्णुरात अतिथये आगताय
सः विष्णुरातः अतिथये आगताय
तस्मै सपर्यां शिरसा अजहार
तस्मै सपर्यां शिरसा आजहार
ततः निवृत्ता हि बुधाः श्रिय अर्भका
ततः निवृत्ता हि अबुधा स्त्रियः अर्भकाः
अर्भकाः महा आसने सा उपविवेश पूजित
महासने स उपविवेश पूजितः
स संवृत्त तत्र महान् मह्यसाम्
सः संवृत्तः तत्र महान् महीयसाम्
ब्रह्मर्षि राजर्षि देवर्षि संगैः
ब्रह्म ऋषि राज ऋषि देव ऋषि संगैः
वेरोचत अलम भगवान यथा इंदु
व्यरोचत अलम भगवान यथा इंदुः
ग्रह रुक्ष ताराणि करैः परितः
ग्रह रुक्ष तारा निकरैः परितः
प्रशान्तम् आसीनम् अकुण्ठमेधसम्
प्रशान्तम् आसीनम् अकुण्ठमेधसम्
मुनिं नृपः भागवत अभ्युपेत्य
मुनिं नृपः भागवतः अभ्युपेत्य
प्रणम्य मृद्ना वहित कृताञ्जलिः
प्रणम्य मूर्धना अवहितः कृत अंजलिः
नत्वा गिरा सुनृतय अन्वपृच्छत्
नत्वा गिरा सुनृतयः अन्वपृच्छत्
श्यामं सदा अपि वयः अङ्गलक्ष्म्या श्रीणां मनोज्ञं रुचिरस्मितेन प्रत्युत्थिता ते मुने स्व आसनेभ्यः तत्लक्षण ज्ञा अपि गूढवर्चसं स विष्णुरात अतिथय आगताय तस्मै सपर्यां शिरसा जहार ततः निवृत्ताय बुधा श्रिय अर्भकाः महासने स उपविवेश पूजितः सः संवृत्त तत्र माण्मय्यसाम् ब्रह्मर्षि राजर्षि देवर्षि संगैः विरोचत अलम् भगवान् यथा इन्दुः ग्रह रुक्ष ताराणि करैः परितः प्रशान्तम् आसीनम् अकुण्ठमेधसम् मुनीन्द्रुप भागवत अभ्युपेत्य प्रणम्य मृद्ना वहित कृताञ्जलिः नत्वा गिरा सुनृतय अन्वपृच्छत्
श्यामं
हरे
सदापि
कृष्ण
व्यय्यलङ्घ्या स्त्रीणां मनोज्ञं रुचिः स्मितेन प्रत्युत्थितः ते मुनयः स्व आसनेभ्य तत्लक्षणज्ञा अपि गूढवर्चसं स विष्णुरथ अतिथय आगताय तस्मै सपर्यां शिरसा अजहार ततः निवृत्ता हि अबुधा स्त्रियर्भका महाआसने स उपविवेश पूजितः स संवृत्तः तत्र महान् महीयसां ब्रह्म ऋषि राज ऋषि देव ऋषि संगैः व्यरोचत अलम भगवान यथा इंदु ग्रह रक्षतार निकरैः परितः प्रशान्तमासिनम् अकुण्ठमेधसं मुनिं नृप भागवत अभ्युपेत्य प्रणम्य मूर्धनावहितं कुताञ्जलिः नत्वा गिरा सून्दृतया अन्वपृच्छत्
translation and purport by the Śrīla Prabhupada. He was blackish and very beautiful due to his youth. Because of glamour of his body and his attractive smile, he was pleasing to women, though he tried to cover his natural glories. The great sages present there were all expert in the art of physiognomy, and so they honored him by rising from their seats. Mahārāja Parīkṣit, who is also known as Viṣṇurāta, one who is always protected by Viṣṇu, bowed his head to receive the chief guest, Śukadeva Gosvāmī. At that time, all the ignorant women and boys ceased following Śrīla Śukadeva Gosvāmī, Śukadeva, receiving respect from all. Śukadeva Gosvāmī took his exalted seat. Śukadeva Gosvāmī was then surrounded by saintly sages and demigods, just as the moon is surrounded by stars, planets, and other heavenly bodies. His presence was gorgeous and he was respected by all. Uh, the sage Sri Shukadeva Goswami was Goswami sat perfectly pacified, intelligent, and ready to answer any question without hesitation. The great devotee Maharaj Parīkṣit approached him, offered his respect by bowing before him, and politely inquired with sweet word and folded hands. Purport. On Shukadeva Goswami's arrival at the meeting, Everyone except Śrīla Vāsdeva, Narad, and few others stood up, and Mahārāja Parīkṣit, who was glad to receive a great devotee of the Lord, bowed down before him with all the limbs of his body. Śukadeva Gosvāmī also changed the greetings and reception by embrace, shaking of hands, nodding, and bowing down, especially before his father and Narad Muni. Thus, he was offered the presidential seat at the meeting. When he was received by the king and sages, the street boys and less intelligent women who followed him were struck with wonder and fear. So they retired from their frivolous activities, and everything was full of gravity and calm. In the great assembly of saintly personalities, there was Vasudev, the Brahmarshi, Narad, the Devarshi, uh, Parshuram, the great ruler of the Kshatriya king, etc. Some of them were powerful incarnations of the Lord. Shukadeva Goswami was not known as Brahmarshi, Rajarshi, or Devarshi, nor was he an incarnation like Narada, Vyas, or Parshuram, and yet he excelled them in respect special. This means that duty of the Lord is more honored in the world than the Lord himself. One should therefore never minimize the importance of a devotee like Shukadeva Goswami. The gesture now adapted by Maharaj Parikshit of questions a master is quite befitting in terms of scriptural injunction. The scriptural injunctions is that one should humbly approach a spiritual master to understand the transcendental science. Maharaj Parikshit was now prepared for meeting his death, and within the very short time of 7 days, he was to know the process of entering the kingdom of God. In such important case, one is required to approach a spiritual master. There is no necessity of approaching a spiritual master unless one is in need of solving the problem of life. One who does not know how to put question before the spiritual master has no business seeing him. And the qualification of the spiritual master is perfectly manifested in person of Shukadeva Goswami. Both the spiritual master and the disciple, namely Śrī Śukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit, attain perfection through the medium of Srimad Bhagavatam. Shukadeva Goswami learned Srimad Bhagavatam from his father, Vyasdev, but he had no chance to recite it. Before Maharaj Parikshit, he recited Srimad Bhagavatam and answered the question of Maharaj Parikshit unhesitatingly, and thus both the master and the disciple got salvation. Om Jnanatimirandasya ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिक वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवाञ्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिने ते नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात देशतारिणे वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा. Today we try to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, chapter 19, the appearance of Shukadeva Goswami, shloka number 28 to 31. Here, if we want, we think about the most important point is that the here they describe about the Śukadeva Goswāmī, how are they, and when they reached the meeting place, how they respected all the sages, and Parīkṣit Maharaj uh, how treated them, and he Parikshit Maharaj is ready to ask question Shukadeva Goswami, and Shukadeva Goswami is ready to give the answer. How here they explain about how we go to the Guru, like in Bhagavad Gita, Tadvidi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Seva, like that describe. Prabhuji will tell us in nicely in detail. Vanchakalpatarubecha kripa sindhubevacha patitanam pavane Vaishnavabhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna.
तद्विद्धि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपद्यक्षन्ति ते ज्ञानं ज्ञानिनः तत्त्वदर्शिनः. As Mataji has made us to remember this sloka where Krishna tells Arjuna, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, render service unto him, because the self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Tattva Darshi Naha. So practically, if we see, spiritual realization is really difficult. It's very difficult to understand who we are. And especially in the age of Kali Yuga, where people have been manufacturing their own processes, which has become a fashion of the foolish pretenders, it is very difficult. You want to know about religion is difficult. And that is where Krishna, look at his mercy. He has appeared in the form of the book, Grantha Avtara, and he's giving us all the knowledge perfectly. Like he tells us in the sixth canto, third chapter, 19th shloka, Dharmam tu sakshat Bhagavat pranitam. That the path of religion is directly enunciated by the Lord. So any kind of a mental speculation, dry argument, that is not going to lead us to the right path. Our own studies without guidance, useless. What is required is we have to approach a bona fide spiritual master if you want to receive any knowledge. And not only that, we have to accept him in full surrender. Tadviddhi pranipatena. And we have to serve the master like a menial servant without any prestige. What Prabhupada makes us understand is that satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in the spiritual life. And then inquiries and submission. That's the proper combinations for spiritual understanding. Unless there is submission and service, inquiries will be ineffective. So you must be able to pass the test of a spiritual master. And when he sees the genuine desire, he automatically blesses with genuine spiritual understanding. This is what is the right path. A master is always by nature very kind towards the disciple. So if he is submissive, ready to render service, reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries becomes perfect. Parikshit Maharaj was well aware of all of this. And so when Śukadeva Gosvāmī ji entered, he understood the plan of Krishna. We saw the description of the body of Śukadeva Gosvāmī, which was very, very attractive. And even though outwardly he was appearing like maybe Avduta, but internally, the spiritual essence which he was having, it was shining bright. He was exalted. He was all at attractive. And there, amongst all the sages, where we had Shaunak, Vashisht, Vyasdevji, Naradji, Shukadeva was appearing youthful, radiant, and though he was naked, he was absorbed in divine bliss. Such a majestic entrance. And what the assembly does? It shows reverence to him. Because they immediately recognize him as a self-realized soul. So everyone is getting drawn to his spiritual charm. So the sages also they stood up to honor him, which makes it very clear that even liberated souls respect a pure devotee. What we understand here is that a true saint is beyond material dualities, whether it be social norms or clothing. It's the spiritual spark which is most important. Spiritual beauty which surpasses physical attraction. And Paramahamsas, they are respected even by great sages. So Parikshit Maharaj he simply understood all of that. He immediately bowed his head in reverence, understanding Shukadeva Goswami ji as a divine guest. The women and children who were accompanying Shukdev ji, considering him to be a mad person, they were really awestruck by what was happening. They couldn't understand. They thought that just a little while ago we were playing, we were chastising this person. And here Maharaj Parīkṣit, he has bowed down before him. Not only bowed down with all his limbs of the body, which means he gave him Sashtanga Dandavat Pranam. And all the sages, they were standing. And he was given the best seat to sit. So the women and children, they couldn't understand anything. All of a sudden, they were struck with wonder as well as fear. And so they immediately stopped their frivolous activities. And the whole atmosphere became calm, full of gravity. So the setting now becomes perfect for the appearance of Krishna Katha from the mouth of Śrīla Śukadeva Gosvāmī. Look at the assembly. So many exalted devotees. Brahma Rishis, Vyasdevji was one. Raj Rishis, Parikshit Maharaj. Deva Rishis, Naradji. So many exalted personalities. And amongst them, Śukadeva Goswami. The Alankar which is used here is that he was as if shining like a moon among the stars. And the reason was very simple. It was all due to his unparalleled devotion and wisdom. He had understood the essence of life when he heard the few verses of Bhagavatam from his father, and immediately he wanted to learn more and he learned everything. And that is why he excelled in terms of respects being paid as everyone was honoring him. A devotee of the Lord is always more honorable. In fact, Krishna says, more than me, it's my devotee who is to be treated specially. And hence, we have to be very, very careful in our dealings with the devotee. As we had seen even previously, Vaishnava Prad is the biggest Aprad. So Maharaj Parīkṣit ensured that Shukadeva Goswami ji was well seated, he was pacified, And he knew that he was intelligent and he could answer any questions. And Maharaj Parīkṣit was most interested in the two questions which he had recently asked. So Maharaj Parīkṣit himself approached him, offered his respects, and politely inquired with sweet words, folded hands, Sundritaya, sweet voice. So what Parikshit Maharaj is doing is he's making us understand the importance of what Pariprashnena, that asking befitting questions in terms of scriptural injunctions. Because he has showed his humility, he gave full dandavats, and then he has approached the spiritual master to understand the transcendental science. Maharaj Parikshit was well aware of the death which was just waiting round the corner. Short time, 7 days. And so he wanted to be sure what is to be done so that he gets out of the repeated cycles of birth, old age, disease, and death. And hence, approaching a spiritual master is very, very important. Generally, we don't know what kind of questions we should be asking to our spiritual master because we are not aware of it. And this is where the Bhagavatam makes us understand what kind of questions to be asked and what kind of a knowledge to be grasped. So, spiritual master, disciples, both can attain perfection through the medium of Bhagavatam. Śukadeva Gosvāmī learned it from his father. And even after learning, we are seeing that he had not yet got the opportunity to recite it. And now he was getting that opportunity of recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam. And so he immediately answered the questions which are posed by Parikshit Maharaj. And so both of them got the benefit of it. That is why his presence is all the more important. So, what these shlokas are making us understand is the importance of approaching a guru with complete surrender. Right questions which can come only from a humble and devoted heart, and that our teaching or learning of Bhagavatam can begin only when we are receptive and respectful. So let us not get bogged down by the appearances, because a devotee's greatness transcends appearance. Humility is the doorway to wisdom. Parikshit Maharaj's surrender led to the revelation of Bhagavatam. And the presence of liberated souls always elevates the society. So whatever was the gathering which has come, it all turned into divine assembly. So the stage is now set for the recitation of Bhagavatam by Śukadeva Gosvāmī ji, and we will be learning it further in the coming period. Thank you very much.